Hello everybody! Today, I'm going to show you how I turned this big thrifted shirt into a baby doll dress. That's today on Refashioning with Rachel. First, while wearing the shirt, I made a mark where I wanted my high waistline to be and drew a straight line across the shirt at that point. I cut off the bottom and set it aside for later. I folded the top part of the shirt in half, carefully lining up the shoulder seams, and took a shirt that fit me well to use as a pattern, and folded it in half the same way. I placed it on top of my thrifted shirt, carefully lining up the shoulder seams and the folds, and traced around the seams, adding 1 centimeter for seam allowance. And after I cut that out, I had my bodice piece for the dress. I placed my fitted shirt sleeve on top of my thrifted shirt sleeve and traced around the seams, adding 1 centimeter for seam allowance. I cut it out and made a little notch to mark the center of the shoulder. I used that sleeve to cut out another one, and made a little notch in that sleeve too. With the bodice opened up so that the armhole was lying flat, I pinned the sleeve to the armhole, starting at the shoulder seam, and then working from each end of the armhole toward the shoulder seam. By attaching the sleeves this way, I can make sure they are the right size before I begin sewing. And then I sewed the sleeves to the armholes, using a zigzag stitch so it could stretch with the fabric. With the sleeves attached, I folded up the bodice with right sides together so that the front and the back were facing, and pinned along the underarm seams and the side seams. Then I sewed the side seams and the underarm seams all in one go. Since I was recycling the hem that already existed on the sleeves of the thrifted shirt, I made sure the hems of the sleeves were perfectly aligned before I started sewing. I turned the bodice right side out and made a couple little notches to indicate the center front and the center back. Returning to the bottom of the shirt that I cut off earlier, I made 4 equidistant notches all along the raw edge. And went all around it with a basting stitch. I pulled on one of the threads of the basting stitch to gather up the fabric in the top part of the skirt until it was about as wide or a little bit less wide than the bottom of the bodice. Then I flipped the skirt over the bodice so that right sides were together, and I lined up all those notches in the skirt with the side seams of the bodice and the notches in the front and the back of the bodice. And I sewed that down. Working with 1/4 section at a time, I evenly distributed the gathers of the skirt and secured them in place by stitching them to the bodice before proceeding to work on the next 1/4 section. After removing the basting stitch, this project was finished. So here's a reminder of how it looked before. And this is what it looks like now. Thank you so much for watching this video. For more refashioning ideas, check out some other videos on my channel. And like and subscribe, and have a beautiful day.